Hey, what's going on guys, Zqoh here, and welcome to the last highlight tutorial you'll ever need to watch. In this video, I will be covering the basics of literally everything highlight related, so stay tuned for that. On screen right now is the final render of the different effects I'm going to be showing you how to make in today's video.
Bitch, I'm outside of some movie. Blue cheese, I swear I'm addicted to blue cheese. I gotta stick to this paper like blue sleep. Bitch, I'm by my chicken like it's
Before I head into this tutorial, however, I would like to remind you guys that only about 50% of you are actually subscribed. So if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below and leave a like whilst you're at it. Anyway, let's get on with the video. Alright, so now for the first segment of this video, I'm going to be showing you really new guys how to actually install Vegas Pro and how to properly crack it so that you don't have to spend hundreds of dollars on the premium version. So in the link in the description, there will be a MediaFire link. Just go ahead and click that and download the zip file. After that, just go ahead and extract it onto your desktop and run the exe file right there. It'll install the program as per usual. It's in English, so please just read what you're checking and, you know, customize the settings according to your own personal needs. Make sure you enable shortcuts though. So make sure you put a shortcut on your desktop. Now, once everything has been installed and everything like that, you're gonna want to go to the shortcut on your desktop. You're gonna right click that and you're gonna open the file location. Now, once you're in there, you're gonna click on the folders that are on screen right now. Just go ahead and follow that directory until you get to the little protein folder. Now, once you're there, you're gonna open the zip file that you downloaded from the MediaFire link, and just go ahead and replace the protein folder or the protein file in that folder with the one that you've just downloaded from me. So once you've done that, everything should be fully ready to go. Just go ahead and launch Vegas and everything should be perfectly fine. Right, so let's move on to segment 2, which is going to be the plugins that you'll need for this video. I will link in the description a text file that includes all the links to every single plugin that you will need. Unfortunately, I can't go through how to install every single one. However, just watch the videos from other people that I have linked in the text file as well, and just go ahead and follow those because it can take quite a long time to actually install all the plugins. It can take upwards of an hour. Some of them are pretty big, but in general, there are only a couple plugins you'll need. You'll need BCC, you'll need Sapphire, you'll need Universe, and you'll need a Magic Bullet Looks, and that's about it really. You can get away with not having RSMB or Twixtor or New Blue or Ignite or something like that, but those four you're gonna need them for just general highlight editing, and it's very important that you actually get them all to work. So once again, link is in the description, and just go ahead and watch the videos that I've linked, and unpause the video when you've got everything sorted out. Alright, so now that you have everything installed, everything's up and running, everything's looking good, and you've opened Vegas, and you're thinking, now what? Well, pretty much the first thing you're gonna want to do is change some of the default settings that could really fuck you up. So the first of which is obviously going to be up here. So let's say you're opening Vegas with the intent of editing something, right? Realistically, you're going to open the file right here. You're going to click on properties, and this thing is going to open. Pretty much what you're going to want to do is just change the width to, I'd recommend 1920 by 1080 to be honest with you. And then you select frame rate, double NTSC, pixel format 8-bit, full resolution rendering quality best. This is very important. Motion blur type Gaussian, also very important. Deinitialize method none, very important, that is as well. And resample mode, resample right here. This is a very crucial setting right here. Make sure you disable resample. And go down here, pre-rendered files folder, just go ahead, change this to, you know, whatever. If you have low storage in your C drive like I do, realistically you should change it to, you know, your storage folder or your storage drive or something like that. I haven't gone around to that yet, but you know, you do you realistically. And just go down here and click start all new projects with these settings. Go ahead and click apply and click OK, and now you should be good to go for that part. There is one more thing you need to do, however, before you can actually get into editing the videos, which is going to be up here in the options tab. So just go up here, click on options, and then click on preferences. There's going to be a lot of different things here, and the only thing that's actually really important is the video tab right here. So right here, the dynamic RAM preview max, this is a very important setting, because if it's too high, your Vegas can easily crash, and if it's too low, you won't be able to pre-render anything. I would recommend anywhere from, like, I'd say at minimum maybe a gigabyte. If you have 4 gigabytes of RAM, maybe lower to like 400 megabytes or something like that. Just make sure it's like pretty much an eighth of your maximum RAM. I could change this up to like 12 gigabytes if I wanted to, but just to be on the safe side, I've got it at 2 gigabytes right now. But once again, it's up to you, but do not set it to the maximum amount. That'll crash instantly. I would recommend, you know, maximum 2/3, absolute maximum 2/3. And just make sure to set that to what you want, maximum number of rendering threads. This is dependent on your processor. You need to check how many threads you actually have, so you make sure not to actually max those out and get your PC to crash. And now you're good to start editing. Alright, before we get into the actual editing, I'm just going to talk about a few features of Vegas Pro that it's very important for you to know about. It'll only take a couple of minutes, and you're more than welcome to skip forward if you don't think you need this. However, if you do plan on editing, you know, a lot, or editing well, I'd recommend that you keep watching this segment. So pretty much as you can see, I'm just gonna go ahead and mute the clips right here. You can see that I haven't altered these clips in any way, and in the preview window, they're playing, you know, smoothly. However, if I were to apply an effect to this, let's just say a random RGB shake right here, and I played this back, right? It'll be laggy, as you can see. And there's actually a very easy way to fix that. So you just you hold right click and you drag your mouse over a certain section, and you press Shift and B. And what this is going to do is actually use your RAM to create a dynamic pre-render, which is going to sort of, yeah, pre-render your videos, just sort of make your effects pre-rendered, and it'll show, you know, a lossless 60 FPS footage so that you know what you're actually editing and how it looks right now. And that is Shift and B, and you hold right click and you drag it over. The second feature I'm going to be talking about is actually this up here. This is the preview quality. And as you can see, there are 4 different options. You have best, you have good, you have preview, and you have draft. I would never really recommend going off draft, because draft pretty much is all you need. So if you want to be able to actually edit a video without having to pre-render everything, you're gonna want to go to quarter and just have that selected. Obviously, the quality is going to be way worse than, you know, if you had it on half or full. As you can see, there are a lot of pixels here, but it also is able to play back effects with virtually no pre-rendering. If you were to go to half, I'd say this is good for like a quality preview. You don't really need full ever. It takes twice as long to pre-render as or twice as much memory to pre-render as a full or an auto, and pretty much you don't really need it ever. So just use half or quarter when you're editing, and then if you want to pre-render the entire thing, just watch everything back. I'd go to half and then I'd pre-render everything. Alright, so the third thing I'm going to be talking about is this track down here. So pretty much this track has a bunch of features. So if you're at all familiar with any you know, editing software, you'd know what this is. So pretty much this is a video track and this is an audio track. And on this video track right here, the actual video that you will import later, this is where that will be stored. And on the other track, the audio will be stored. Right, but there are a lot of blending options that you can use that are very important to know about. So if you don't have this button right here, you're gonna have to click on the little hamburger icon right here, and there will be a compositing mode. But I have it right here. But as you can see, there are a lot of confusing, you know, options right here that and you sort of need to be familiar with a couple of them. So the most important one, in my opinion, is add right here. And pretty much what add does is it removes all the black in a photo. So let's say you're importing a picture and it has a completely black background. If you were to set the compositing mode to add of the track that the picture is on, it would remove all the black in the background and leave you with just the picture. And you know, that is obviously a good thing to know. Also, this up here, 3D Source Alpha, if you were to go ahead and just click on this, you can go into the Track Motion tab, and you can actually rotate it on a 3D scale right here. So you can rotate it up, you can rotate it around, and this is not possible with a normal track setting. So yeah, now that you know all of those things, I'd say you're ready for the actual editing of the highlight. Okay, so in order to actually start editing your clips, you're gonna need to download another piece of software, and that software is going to be Preset Manager 2.0. So in the description there will be a download link to the preset manager. Obviously I have to search it up right now, but as you can see, you'll find a download link right here, and just go ahead and just wait for it to just wait for you to actually download the application. Click on save, and just go ahead and click on this one right here. Once you're actually once you're all good to go, just go ahead and double click on that. So obviously I already have it installed, but just go ahead and follow the instructions on the screen. Try to avoid any bloatware. I don't know if there is any, but definitely avoid it if there is. And once you're done with that, we can move on to actually applying presets to the clips. Alright, now after all the preparation, we're finally ready to actually import our clips and to start adding some basic effects. So just go ahead and drag your clips in. You are able to do this from a second monitor or from just a minimized Windows File Explorer thing. So just go ahead and drag it on. I'm going to be dragging on a clip right here, and it'll show you these white outlines just to sort of show how long the clip is and where it will be placed. So just go ahead and drag that towards the very start of the timeline here and release, and you'll see this little thing. Do you want you set your project video settings to match this media? You're gonna want to click no, because if the media is say 30 FPS, you're gonna change your entire timeline to being 30 FPS, and you do not want that. So instead you're going to click no, and you're just going to continue on as usual. I'm going to go ahead and actually mute the audio here because I haven't actually controlled it, so I don't really know if you guys are going to get ear ripped or not, so I'll just mute it to be safe. But anyway, you'll see there's this long sort of clip, and obviously the kill is towards the end most likely. You'll find that your clip may be between like 5 seconds, maybe 2 minutes. It varies, based on your clipping software. But as you can see, the kill happens roughly here. So what you're going to want to do is just back off sort of to where it starts and just split it by pressing S on your keyboard, clicking on this first one and pressing delete. And then you can just left click on that, hold it, and then drag it to the front. And that's how you trim, pretty much. So instead, I'm going to import a very quick song here. Let's do Holding On by Ian Dior, and let me go ahead and just reduce the audio here. So let me see. Okay, this is fine. So what I'm gonna do is okay, so you see these audio peaks right here. Pretty much you can see sort of where the audio goes up and down, what the volume is on the song. Now this is utilized very easily, and you can use this to actually sync your clips. So as you can see right here is going to be the first sort of beat drop and the first place you sort of want to sync your video to. But there is, the clip starts here and it's up here. So just go ahead and hold left click and just drag it in. And then just go ahead and match it up to the actual kill. So in my experience, I usually just like to make the kill where the shot impacts the player, which is where you can see the player taking blue damage, and you can also see this when the little like red reticles hit when the player is not blue. So right here, you can see that the impact happens, and you're just going to want to drag that and match it up perfectly. and then just hold left click and drag it out all the way. And now we're gonna want to fade these in. So usually, or I think a lot of you guys have seen, you know, videos with cinematics and stuff like that. That's a whole nother genre, and personally I think they look ass, so I'm not gonna show you those today. Instead, I just prefer to do like a usual fade in, which is, for me, it's a lot quicker and it looks much better. So you can see these 4 little things right here. So you have in the middle right here, that's the gain in audio, and it's the opacity in a video. And on the corner here we have fade outs and fade ins. So you just put your cursor over the little triangle and you drag it in for as long as you want the fade out to happen. So for me, that's going to be about a second. Just go ahead and do that. Now if you press right click on this top line right here, you can change, you know, the actual curve. So I prefer to do sort of a slow fade in, and that's going to be sort of like that. It's very smooth in my opinion, and it'll fade in like that. You're gonna want to fade in your music by like half the amount, I'd say, just like that. But instead I prefer to do a fast fade in, because, you know, music, we want to hear the music, right? But as you can see, once you've done that, you just play it back and it fades in, and it's perfectly synced as well. So now once we've done that, I'm gonna explain the actual velocity or time remapping to you guys. So there are a couple ways to time remap on Vegas Pro. There is your usual velocity. You can use BCC velocity or BCC time remapping, I'm not really sure what the name is, and you can use Twixtor. Now there is a significant difference to all of those. Pretty much velocity, you add to a video by just right clicking on the video track, and then bringing up this list, clicking insert remove envelope, and then velocity, and that's gonna add this line right here. Twixtor is pretty much an AI plugin that creates frames for you to actually make the video smoother. Now obviously, or not obviously, now this is just not worth it in my opinion for highlights anymore if you are editing on Vegas Pro, because it significantly increases the render time, which I will get into in a second here. But it's just not worth it in my opinion, and if you want to edit just a regular standard highlight, I would just recommend using velocity or BCC time remapping. And pretty much BCC time remapping, I'd get into it, but it's just exactly, it's velocity but in a plugin form. But I prefer the standard velocity because it's much more easily accessible. And yeah, so just go ahead, and once you've applied the velocity, you can go ahead and just add it to your clip. So on the kill, there are a lot of different velocities you can add. Today I'm going to be showing you simple 333. So just go ahead and click on the very frame that you've just marked. I'm going to go ahead and press M on my keyboard to add a marker. Just go ahead and double click in the timeline after you can scroll in with scroll wheel. Go 1, 2, 3 frames back with your arrow keys, and then go back to the middle, go 1, 2, 3 frames forward. Go ahead and right click on this middle point and click on set to 300% forward velocity, and go to the last keyframe and set to 50% forward velocity. And what that's going to do is it's going to add a sort of standard velocity right here. And that is exactly what you want. So once you've got this, you're actually good to start adding a couple effects. So in the description, there will have been a preset manager file. What you're going to want to do pretty much is you're going to want to just double click on that, and it'll show up as a package here. So just double click on that, plus hold left click and drag over all of them. Go down to FX change and just drag them in here. And obviously, once you've done that, you can go ahead and close out, and you'll find them in your Vegas. So for me, you're gonna want to go 1, 2, 3 frames back. You're gonna want to split the clip by pressing S, clicking on this white FX button right here, and you're gonna want to add the preset that is in the description. So for me, that is going to be a Dignal RGB shake. And if you go ahead and just play this back by like we've talked about, just holding right click and dragging over and pressing Shift B on your keyboard to pre-render it, you will see that that it looks quite good. As you can see, that looks quite nice. But as you can see right here, this is the FX chain. So at the bottom here, this is technically the bottom and this is the top, just for reference. we have a couple different shakes right here. Now in this is a very beginner tutorial, so I won't actually go over how to make them yourself. You can go ahead and access them if you want to attempt it. You can go ahead and access them via the video effects tab up here and searching for shake or blur, whatever you want. But yeah, you don't really need to do that today, and the easiest way to learn how to actually make effects is to just use them first. So just go ahead and apply that. But as you can see the FX chain right here. We have a couple shakes. We have a Y shake, which is the up and down, and we have the tilt shake, which is tilting right to left. We have some flicker, and we have some glow, and this is just for the impact. And lastly, we have the magic bullet looks, which is going to be the RGB right here. And if you just play this back, it looks quite good. Now, once you've applied that, you're wondering what next. How do I keep going? So just go ahead and play it back right here. You can hear the second sort of beat there. That's where you're gonna want to split the clip, and you do that in order to actually sync the transitions. So just go ahead and do that, and now you're gonna drag in your second clip. So I'm gonna do that on my monitor right now, right here, and this one is going to be a bit longer, but just go ahead and click somewhere towards the end where you know the clip is gonna be. Just go ahead and split it and dragging it back. And as you can see, it's just going to appear here. And now we're going to play it back and find the second beat. It's going to be right here. So just go ahead and make a marker for a reference. And for sniper clips, you're going to want to sync it to when you can first see the numbers. That's when I prefer to actually add them. A very common mistake is to sync sniper clips by the audio for when the bullet leaves the chamber. But that is actually incorrect. And fuck you if you do it. So yeah, just if you go and play everything back, you can see that it actually looks quite good. You can go ahead and trim the clips based on what looks and sounds good. So there we go. I think that sounds much better. And now I'm going to show you how to actually copy this preset straight over to this clip without having to go through the manual process of everything. So just go ahead and click on the marker, go 1, 2, 3 frames back, and press the S key to split it. And now we're going to go over here and we're going to press Control C on our keyboard. And this is going to copy the track, right? But now we actually want the presets and the effects and everything to go from this clip to this clip. So what you do is you just left click on it, press right click, and click on Paste Event Attributes. And this is going to just copy everything from this clip to this clip. And as you can see, it's going to do that. But you're wondering, how do I add some transitions? Because as you can see, there aren't really any transitions here. So I'm going to be showing you how to actually manually add some basic transitions in today's video. So just go ahead and click on where the clips meet. Just head into your video effects tab, and you're going to search for blur mode curves. I haven't actually loaded up my Vegas yet, and as you'll notice, it actually takes like 10 to 15 seconds for Vegas to actually load when you've just launched it. Now, this is only a problem for the first time you search for something, so obviously if you're in the middle of like an hour session, you will have no lag whatsoever. But as you can see, we can search for blur mode curves, and you will see this plugin right here. Now, I have some presets set up for this, but I'm going to be taking it step by step for you guys. So just go ahead and drag default onto the onto the first clip right here, and it'll open this very confusing menu. You don't really need to know what all this does, but yeah, I'm gonna teach you anyway. So just go ahead and have your marker over where the clips meet. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frames back on your keyboard. Doesn't have to be precisely 5, but I find that around 8 is a bit too much and 4 is a bit too little. So I think 5 is a good middle way point there. And these little clocks right here, they are going to be the keyframing pretty much. So you're gonna want to animate the Z distance here for just a regular zoom in, zoom out transition. Now, once you've clicked on the clock here, you're gonna see that if you drag this timeline up to actually show it, you're gonna add a timeline for the blur mode curves plugin. And you need to, before you do anything, make sure that this button is pressed right here. This is going to sync the cursor to the media timeline, which means that if you go here in the media timeline, you'll go here in the in this thing right here. So just go ahead and click on middle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the middle. Just go ahead and add a keyframe by pressing on the green thing here. Then go into the last frame. And if you want to zoom in, you're going to set the Z distance to about 0.5. And if you want to zoom out, you're going to set it to about 1.5. Now, I'm going to show you how to zoom in today. So just set it to 0.5. And now you're going to want to right click on this keyframe and you're going to set it to a slow fade. This is going to make the transition a whole lot smoother. And in my opinion, slow fade is the only option here that actually, makes it look good. So add a slow fade there. Now you're going to want to add the same plugin to the second clip, and you're gonna want to set the Z distance instantly right here to 1.5. And what you're gonna want to do is just click on warp X and set it to reflect, and click on warp Y and set it to reflect as well. This is going to obviously reflect the screen and make it look a whole lot better than if it was black. And once you've done that, just go ahead and press animate. After you've set the Z distance to 1.5, go about 8 frames out. I'd say 6 to 10 is fine for the second clip. So just go 8 frames out. You can just click on the timeline right here, and as you can see, the frame counter is down here. So just make sure that you've gone roughly 8 frames out, and set the Z distance to 1. And then you're gonna want to right click on this frame right here and set it to fast. So pretty much what this is gonna do. Let me actually go ahead and pre-render all of this. As you can see, it'll do a very, very smooth zoom-in transition. And that's pretty much all you need to know for the transitions at this point, if you need to watch this tutorial. Obviously, you can zoom in and you can zoom out as well by setting this to 1.5. And setting this to 0.5. That's pretty much everything you need to change. So, as you can see, it'll do that. You also need to set the first plugin to warp X and warp Y reflect if you're gonna want to zoom in. And there we go. Right, so at this point, I think I've shown you the basics of highlight editing. Obviously, you can add some sound effects to this. Let's go ahead and drag my bass swoosh in here. A bass swoosh pretty much just adds some more impact to the kill. And as you can see, it'll add on its own little timeline right here. So the link will be in the description. And if you zoom in enough, you'll see that there is a big cluster of audio there. Just go ahead and set the kill on a bit before that. And as you know, it'll, create a cool impact. If you hold Control and hold left click and drag it out, it'll create a duplicate. So just go ahead and do that onto all your clips. And now finally, I'm going to show you the rendering. So just go ahead and hold right click and just drag over the part you wanna render. Obviously, I've only done a couple clips here, but if you have like a full 2-minute montage, you can just go ahead and do that. So just go and drag it up, click on file and click on render as up here. As you can see, you'll see a bunch of different confusing options here, but the only one that you're gonna want to use is the Magix AVC AAC MP4. This is pretty much the only one you're gonna want to use. And do not use the one that says NVIDIA NVENC. I just avoid those, honestly. And so pretty much you have a couple of options. You have 4K 60 FPS, you have 1080p 60 FPS. Always make sure you render it at 60 FPS, by the way. Anything less than that looks fucking atrocious in my opinion, at least for highlights. So yeah, I'd recommend that you actually make a preset of this. So if you're uploading to YouTube, these are the settings that I would recommend. So click on the 1080p 60 FPS option and click on customize template down here. And this will open this setting. So first of all, just change the template name to render. Right here, anything really, you don't have to name it render. Make sure both of these are checked. Click on frame size, and 1080p is decent. If you're uploading to YouTube, I'd recommend 2560 by 1440 or 2K resolution, because the what's it called, the compressor, whatever, it's 1440 right here, because because the YouTube encoder will actually make your video significantly worse looking if you are on 1080p or under when you are a smaller channel. So just go ahead and make it 2560 by 1440. Do not keep this unchecked. Profile main and frame rate 59.94 or double NTSC. Go ahead and make sure that's unchecked. Field order none. Pixel aspect ratio 1. Number of reference frames 2. Click up here on constant bitrate and set it to 135 million. This is very important if you're uploading to YouTube because it'll make the quality much better. If you're entering, say, a Twitter preview, you are very free to change the width and height to 1920 by 1080, and you can also change the constant bitrate to like 50 million or 28 million. Constant bitrate is going to be a huge part of how big your video is in terms of like size. So if you have very bad internet, I wouldn't recommend going over 135 really, but anything, you know, under that for YouTube is not great either. But for Twitter preview, just go ahead and fucking make it 192K for all I care. The host is so shit anyway, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, and just keep the main or the encode mode AVC, and the encoder is a bit iffy, so I wouldn't really recommend using that. And just go ahead and hit OK and click on render down here. You can obviously change your render folder, so if you don't have enough room, just make sure to change that. And you can change your name. You don't need to keep MP4 in the title, obviously, but just go ahead and set it to, let's say, video. And we can click on render, and it'll actually start rendering. So yeah, if you guys have enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like down below, comment, subscribe, all that good shit. And I'll see you guys in a couple days, and peace.